Hi, Rose. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. Glad to see you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
How are things going at home?
They're going well. We are staying busy, getting ready for spring break, and my husband and I are both taking off, so that'll be nice.
Oh,
so just being able to go, we're going to Florida for a little warmer weather, so that'll be nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Enjoy after all this cold weather we've had here.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah. So, is your son going to be going with you all on vacation?
Actually, he's not. So we're actually going to have him stay at home.
Okay.
He is starting a part-time job, so that's good just for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long he's going to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
So we want him to stay at home to do that. I'm a little worried about that. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
What makes you worried about that?
Well, mainly because, is he going to be able to take care of himself? Is he going to be able to stay sober? He has tried to stay sober a few days recently. Last time we talked, he told me to kind of express myself more to him when he was sober, and I did that. I don't know if it made a difference or not, but he has tried to be a little more sober, so that's good. So yeah, I think it's just good for my husband and I to kind of get away for a little bit.
Yeah, that's great. That's great because I know, one of the main reasons why you came in here is because the situation at home was kind of causing a little rift between you and your husband.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you all just really weren't on the same page and how to deal with your son. And just to cover last session, we explored the miracle question and, what do you really want for your son? And you said you ideally would like for him to be sober and self-sufficient and be able to make it on his own.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's great that he's got a job.
Yeah.
Because, I know he was getting some of his money from you, and that's kind of, that was contributing to his procurement of alcohol and that. So, good. Let's see, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important do you think it is for your son to become self-sufficient?
I'd say like a 9, 10. I feel like it's very important for him to be self-sufficient.
Okay.
For every kid who ends up growing up, I think it's important for all of us too. So I think it's important for him. Definitely.
Okay. And I know we discussed some of the changes that need to be made in order to make him self-sufficient. Some of the changes at home as far as, duties and chores and responsibilities. How confident are you that the changes that are in place are going to help him achieve that goal of self-sufficiency?
Yeah, I hope that they will. Meaning on the number scale?
Yeah, on the scale of 1 to 10. I mean, where do you stand? Are you still kind of in the middle, not wanting, still, your husband kind of said that you're over-motherly, overprotective.
Yeah. Well, I think since the last time we talked, I tried to do that where I talked to him and I tried to get him to do more chores like we had talked about. And it did look, because the fact that he went out and tried to get a job, I thought was good to see that. It's only part-time. He's obviously not living in his own house now. He hasn't done that quickly. But I did see that was a change. So the original question was what again? The scale from 1 to 10 of how would
about your changes. The changes, how are you doing with your changes in trying to get him to become self-sufficient and sober?
I think it's almost at this point, I think a while ago I would have said I should stay where I am because I hadn't seen any progress in him, but because I tried what you had mentioned or we had talked about, I probably would have said a 3 before, but I think now probably like a 7 or 8. I think a little bit. It's gotten up a little bit more.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And it sounds like, to me, if you weren't confident in the changes that you're seeing in the home, you and your husband probably would not be going out of town by yourselves and leaving him there.
It was something we actually had planned a while ago, and I always, in the back of my mind, was like, we're going to bring along him, my son. But now that we've gotten closer and we're closer to the date, and I think it'll be okay. I think it's better for us. I don't know exactly what's going to happen to him, but it's better for us probably.
That's great that you all are going to have that time together to, to just get away from the stress and hopefully come back and everything's good. And
yeah. We'll see.
So, looking forward, do you see changes being made to where, he could possibly be able to move from part-time to full-time and be on his own?
I'm really hoping for that. I think that idea of open communication with him was really trying to encourage him to do things around the house. And the biggest thing I think is not giving him money at this point has really, I see that he might start taking his work more seriously and really trying to work more. So yeah, I do see that maybe happening, I think, in the long term. Yeah, I think so.
So you're able to look back and see what your behaviors were prior and what changes you made and how those changes influenced his behaviors.
Yeah.
To where, he knows he's not going to get the money from mom every time he goes and asks.
Yeah. It's been really, really difficult. I mean, there were a couple of times where I did give him the money, but then my husband called me. So I think at this point, I think it's really making a difference by not giving him money at this point. Yeah.
Well, that is great.
Yeah.
And I know I had mentioned before about some of the support groups for Alcoholics Anonymous and Alateen and support groups for people with family members that do have substance issues.
Yeah.
Have you and your husband discussed whether you might be interested in going to something like that?
That's something I'm more nervous about, just to I don't want people to really know what's going on. I don't really remember too much where it stood last time, but it might be something that I probably should start looking into, I think. I'm a little nervous about something like that, but I think it could probably be pretty nice to do that. Yeah.
What makes you nervous about it?
Mainly just, sharing my story, or finding out that something's not working, or like in my own, reflecting on other people's stories and hearing, kind of relating. I don't want it to be like their stories, I'm a little nervous about that. And what if I know somebody in the group, or, what if it doesn't help? I don't know. There's a lot of questions about it that goes in my mind, but I've never tried it, so I can't judge it, I guess, before I try it.
Okay. So I hear you describing a lot of reasons why you would not probably want to go. Can you think of any reasons why you would, or what could be beneficial from going to a support group?
Well, the fact that it's a support group, I mean, maybe there'll be people there with good advice, or people who would be able to understand my situation, which is a great support, because none of my sisters or the rest of my family have anything like this going on right now, so I can't really relate to anybody. So maybe that would be helpful, and I think maybe I should, because of that, really look into it. Yeah.
Well, I just want to recap and let you know, it is an option out there.
Yeah.
And should you ever find yourself, needing more support, a lot of people come from the same background, and there is a stigma, unfortunately, that's attached, and people kind of want to keep their personal business. So I definitely understand where you'd be afraid, you might run into somebody, or you don't want people to know that, your son has that issue. But again, you mentioned some positives, that you can have support and maybe find other ways that family members have coped and things that have worked. So it's just an option out there.
Yeah.
Should you ever need extra resources or extra support.
Do you have any idea of how I could go and look for that, or?
Yeah, actually, in our waiting area, we have some brochures.
Okay, great.
There's a listing with meetings,
okay,
locations, and times.
Okay, great.
I'll make sure I hand that to you before you leave.
Okay.
And it sounds like everything's on the right track, changes being made, and that's great to hear. So I think since things are going so well, maybe in a couple weeks we'll check back.
Okay.
And then...
Yeah, because I'll be going out of town too, so that'll probably be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll have to let me know how your vacation went too.
I will, yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Rose.
Thank you very much.
All right.